Hello and welcome to my fourth ramble of 2021. I have to confess that I'm recording this on Thursday evening rather than Friday. Last week I had awful difficulty trying to upload the video. Our internet here in North Dorset is terrible, and with 3 children homeschooling, if I start to upload they can't do their lessons and they get very grumpy with me too. So I thought I would record it this evening and I can upload it overnight while they're all sleeping. So that's the answer there. I hope you've had a good week. It's been an interesting week, hasn't it? I would never want to venture into politics on this ramble, but I have to say that it was great to watch the American inauguration of Joe Biden yesterday, and I thought he spoke magnificently, very humbly, and I just think he'll be a good thing for America. And I know a lot of my American friends have been in contact and said this is great, it's like a new dawn. So and actually I have to say, Lady Gaga, when I heard she was singing the national anthem, the American national anthem, I thought, ooh, but I thought she was amazing, absolutely amazing, fantastic. I'm not sure about the dress, but the rest, the voice, wow, brilliant. And one or two of my musical colleagues commented on Garth Brooks, the cowboy who sang Amazing Grace, who took a breath after just about every syllable. So for those of you that run a bit short of breath and feel bad about it, just have a look at his performance. And I know he's terribly popular, but it was extraordinary how often he breathed. So happens to even the best people. So there we go. Anyway, how did you get on with Quickfire 5 last week? There were 1 or 2 slightly tricky questions, so I hope I didn't bamboozle you too much. But here are the answers, and I love the first question. Which German composer famously said, "I may not be a first-rate composer, but I'm a first-class second-rate composer"? I just think that's an amazing quote. Well, the answer is Richard Strauss, who wrote all those wonderfully powerful pieces. A favourite of mine, really. But anyway, that's the answer. Question number 2. Every year there's a famous church music festival held in a little church in Wiltshire. Do you know what that is? Where that is? Well, the answer is Eddington Priory. Eddington, sort of around Trowbridge Devizes area. Beautiful church. And there's been a music festival going on there for a good number of years now, sort of probably 50, just for a week. And they get cathedral choristers from all across the country during the holidays. And they get together and form an ad hoc choir, and they have 1 or 2 other, a scholar as well. It's a wonderful festival, so worth watching out for. It's in August usually, I think. Maybe it's not happening this year. Question number 3, for those of you who are hymn buffs, in which hymn do you find the words, "I once was lost, but now am found"? Was that one of those things you're thinking, oh, what was that? What was that? The answer is, you mentioned Garth Brooks earlier, Amazing Grace. Question 4, which famous Welsh church music composer is buried in St Asaph Cathedral? And the answer to that is William Matthias. My clue about him writing a royal anthem was he wrote that lovely piece, "Let the People Praise Thee, O God," for the marriage of Charles and Diana in St Paul's. So William Matthias. And question 5 was, how many organ sonatas did Mendelssohn write? And the answer is 6. 6 very, very fine, classy organ sonatas. If you're an organist and you don't know them, shame on you. So, how many did you get? Anyone get 5? Let me know if you got 5. Anyone get less than 2? Who knows? Anyway, here are my 5 for this week. I never know whether to make them too hard or too easy. Here's a mixture for you. So, a couple of bizarre ones. Question number 1. Where would you find my cat Geoffrey? Where would you find him? Question 2, another hymn one, just for fun. Which hymn contains the words, "With the cross of Jesus going on before"? With the cross of Jesus going on before. Question number 3. Whose was the lost chord? Whose was the lost chord? Question number 4. Interesting one. If you get the answer to this, I had to look this one up actually. I was just curious. Do you know how many monarchs have been crowned in Westminster Abbey? How many monarchs have been crowned in Westminster Abbey? It's quite an extraordinary number actually. And number 5 is just a sort of quirky one that I read a while ago. I've always remembered this and it always amuses me. And if you get this right, I'll be amazed. A very famous, and he is very famous composer, received so many requests for locks of his beautiful hair that he bought a dog and sent fur clippings out to people instead. That is a really true story. Famous composer. If you get that, well done. So there's Quickfire 5 for this week. Haha. As always at this point, I point you to www.swanageteam.com, where the online service for this week is to be found, and you can sing along with a couple of lovely hymns and follow the liturgy. Or you could come to St Mary's at 10:30 on Sunday and hum along to the hymns. Sadly, I said sing them live. No, hum along to the hymns. So, for my musical recommendation for this week, and I thought that we're just coming up, January the 25th, we're coming up to the feast of St Paul, which I remember very well as a chorister. It was always a special time, the Patronal Festival at St Paul's. Us choristers, we always used to feel a little bit hard done by though, because the school used to organise an old boys' dinner on the night of the 25th. So we used to sing in the morning and then we'd sing again in the afternoon and work really hard. But then we had to go to bed early so that the chefs and the staff could look after all the old boys. And it was really hard lying in the dormitory trying to get to sleep, and you could hear the noise coming up the stairs. And more frustratingly, you could smell the dinner. And if I told you what our meals were like normally, and suddenly you smelt lovely roast dinner and everything, and wine, it was tempting, but very frustrating indeed. Anyway, St Paul's Day. So I thought one of my very, very favourite settings of the Magnificat and Nunc was written by Herbert Howells, who wrote over 20 different settings of the Mag and Nunc. And what was fascinating about Howells's music was that he always took into consideration the acoustics of the building. So when he decided to write a setting of the canticles, the evening canticles for St Paul's, he had to take into account that vast echo. And he wrote this piece in 1950, and he said that he had to make sure that the harmonic progression was fairly slow and the build-up's fairly slow, because if it all happened too quickly in that echo, you'd lose it. So there are very long lines, long phrases, but the climaxes are just sensational. It's just an extraordinary piece. I always think that Howells writes some of the best Gloria settings ever. Just really, really thrilling. So I've got many, many happy memories of singing this piece in St Paul's Cathedral. I have to confess, it's not my very favourite Howells setting. That, for me, is the Gloucester service, which maybe we'll talk about another time. But the St Paul's service is very dear to my heart, having sung it millions of times as a chorister. It's a big setting, it needs a big choir. You know, we had 30 boys and 18 men, so it was fairly epic. So, for this week's example, I'm going to point you predominantly to where else? St Paul's itself, and an archive recording, a live choral evensong which includes the St Paul's Mag and Nunc, conducted by Barry Rose, that many of you know, having been to Swanage to conduct. And the organ is played by my great mentor in life, my choir master at St Paul's when I was there, Christopher Durnley, who was organist of Salisbury Cathedral too. And I think I owe all the inspiration that I have in church music to dear Christopher Durnley, who trained me as a kid, took me on as organ scholar afterwards, and inspired me, and came to visit Salisbury once or twice before he died. When I was there. So wonderful organist too. So Barry and Christopher together, the dream team. So I'd like you to listen to that. But I'm also just going to send you a link to a performance of the Gloria, taken from a recording that was being made by Trinity College, Cambridge, in Lincoln Cathedral. Fantastic organ in Lincoln as well. But if you want to see people singing, these guys, the kids at Trinity, are always so epic. But the energy in this Gloria, when I saw it, it just blew me away. The energy in the performance is just unbelievable. So listen to the St Paul's recording, but just watch this. And then Stephen Layton, who's the conductor of Trinity, who is a sort of bordering on somewhere between genius and madness. He looks like a sort of crazy, mad professor, but boy, he's a brilliant musician. And just watching him get the best out of these kids is something else. So two examples for you. So I hope you enjoy that. Good. So I'm going to do my usual trick of just nipping across the way, and we'll do some brief warm-ups. I've been talking too much today. I hope it doesn't seem too dark here. I'm used to the sun coming through the window over there, but it's getting twilight now. Anyway, let's just think about posture as always, sitting up straight, nice and relaxed, or standing, not having your knees locked, so wiggle your knees a little bit. And let's just try, should we do slide up, just going to and slide up every step of the way. And the next one, really cheesy slide. One more. Good. And the exercise we've done before. Si fa, si fa, si fa, si fa, si. Okay, here we go. Si fa, si fa, si. Si fa, si fa, si. Si fa, si fa, si. Crashing a bit louder. Si fa, si fa, si. 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 One more. Si fa, si fa, si. Good. And then we'll just do some descending scales, and we tony, 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 like tony, 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 tony. Nice and crisp, right? Sort of mezzo forte, a bit energized. Okay, 3, 4. Tony, 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 tony. 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 One more. Tony, 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 Tony. Good. Simple, easy peasy. I hope that you have a good weekend, and that you maybe, the weather's been pretty terrible, hasn't it? But if you get the chance to go out walking, fantastic. But above all else, oh, I meant to mention, yes, that I heard that some of you have had your vaccinations now, which is very exciting. And if more of you are going to have them soon, that's great, isn't it? But in the meantime, have fun. Hope the sun shines on you. Stay safe and stay warm. And hopefully see you soon.